Hey everyone, today I'll be doing something a little bit different. Somebody in the comments asked me to do a showcase of all the MOCs from the temple, and so I decided that that was a pretty good idea. I know I usually show off pretty extravagant MOCs that are really detailed and have a lot of pieces, but as you can see, these MOCs don't really have very many complex techniques or really any at all. But I feel like it would be a good idea just to show off some more simple MOCs today. I'll go ahead and start off with the little enemies from the temple. They all have basically the same design. It just varies a little bit in how long their legs or arms are. Like these two have very short legs. This one has long legs and this one has short arms. So they just barely vary. Their weapons are all different. This one had no weapons. This one just has a claw hand. This one has two bladed weapons. And also I decided to use the skull spider helmets for these two just because they kind of look cool. And in the temple stop motion, they all had like glowing eyes. I put sticky putty in their helmets, but I took that out for the review just because it wasn't actually any Hero Factory piece that gave the glowing effect. And so as you can see, all these guys are really simple, and there's not really a reason to stay on them for very long. Next up, we have this guy, which I intended for him to kind of look like a skeleton warrior. Unfortunately, I didn't have a skeleton mask on hand that I could give him because all the rest were in the moon sand, and so I couldn't take one out because then the stop motion wouldn't have the best continuity if a mask was there, and then in the next scene it wasn't because I had to put it on him. But besides him not having the mask, I think he still looks like a skeleton. The plain Bionicle heads always kind of did look skeletal. I used a pretty old Bionicle shield piece, and then I used a sword that I got from... I don't remember exactly who he was, but he was from one of the heroes in the Swamp Wave, like the 2008 Bionicle Wave. He was always one of my favorite heroes, mainly because I really liked this sword piece. I used a lot of those different joints from Bionicle 2016 from the skeletons to make him look a little extra skeletal. Next up we have the hero. He's also very simple. I really like his gun though. That is one of my favorite small scale guns that I've built. I think it just looks really good and works well with this MOC. I used one of those tiny little Star Wars armor plates right there to give him some detail, and also I put a few Technics right here to attach the sword to his arm. Around back he doesn't have much except for a few exposed Technic pieces, or a few exposed Technic holes, sorry. And besides that, the armoring on the legs is very simple. He has a kind of cool color scheme, just tan and white, and I really like the use of the Rakshi head also. Next up we have this guy, which was kind of a villain and kind of a hero in a way because he helped the good guy at the very end. I really like how his gun is built. It's a little bit out of the ordinary with the double barrels and the long magazine. It looks really cool. His color scheme is kind of bland, just with the gold and the gray. He's really not complex either. He has a little bit of translucent green with the visor and those little bulb pieces. I really like the shoulder plates from Bionicle, or from the newer waves of Bionicle. That's one of my favorite new Bionicle armor plate pieces. I like the use of Rocka 5.0's head. I did that just so he could have a visor. I really do like the visors from 5.0. They're one of the only good parts of that wave. Besides that, there's not too much to point out about him, so I'll go ahead and move on to the next. Next we have the villain, and he's really simple also. His color scheme is super simple with the white and the green, and his weapons are also simple. Just those green sword pieces from 4.0, those came from Black Phantom. And his head is Corroder from 1.0, and he uses a blue underhelmet from Brain Attack, or 5.0, and besides that, there's not really much to note. I used a lot of those big green armor plate pieces just to give him an appearance of having a little bit thicker of armor than the typical. Here they all are back together. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't seen the temple, please go back and watch it.